Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another live-to-tape episode of Jim and Rob Overanalyze Movies. The occasionally live, sometimes recorded video podcast for people who are looking for a deeper conversation about the films we watch today. And we've got a banger of an episode, even somewhat rehearsed. We'll get into that in a second. Let's get into it. That's right, everyone. We're going to be looking at Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, the second in what is becoming a series of Benoit Blanc, Agatha Christie-esque mysteries by Rian Johnson, starring Daniel Craig and a huge cast of stars. But before we get into that, I think it's important to bring on my co-host with the most, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jim Chaboyko.
Ooh, I'm not blocking my light. Woo, I'm learning.
Mr. Chaboyko, how you doing? It's been so long.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, we have kind of rehearsed this bit.
Feels like minutes.
That's right. We got the episode, the recording started live to tape, like as though we're in a live show, and I forgot to hit record. So
all my jokes. Hello, ladies and germs.
All the comedy gold, the bon mots of our opening segment. Such is life. I do, as I said before, Jim, even in the digital green room, none of this is a surprise. I wanted to, a couple of items. First of all, my friend, as you know, I am not the biggest fan of the post-apocalyptic genre. Not so much that I think they make for bad movies. I think I've just become politically, philosophically against them. I think there's a recent story in the news, and I don't know if you've heard of these folks, Jim, but this will give you an idea. One of the ideas why I think these movies are all kind of ridiculous. Here, have you heard of Vivo's Global Shelter Network, Jim?
I had not.
Well, let me refresh your memory. Vivos Point, largest survival community on Earth, in a massive, completely off-grid former military complex, South Dakota, just south of us, Jim. South Dakota, just south of the city of Edgemont, the Black Hills. Mm-hmm. Apparently located in one of the safest places in North America, away from riots, violence, targets, and submersions. Look at I love the potential flood is like, a third of the western United States is just going to be, well, I guess that's a submersion zone. Wow. Okay, so there's a big one. Rolling grassland with abundant natural resources. Because when I think of great farming, I think of rolling grassland.
Well, speaking from personal experience in South Dakota, you'll certainly be away from decent Chinese food.
Listen, you know what? It's a big 18 square miles of secured land area. Maybe they could get a Chinese food joint on site.
Yeah.
Safety in these numbers. 2,200 square feet of underground floor area. Apparently the world is watching. Customize your bunker. Jeez. Outfit it to fit your budget.
No ballroom?
Well, maybe not, but you can glamp. Completely outfit it for $10K. Oh my goodness. It's just built to withstand virtually every threat.
Ooh.
Jim, every threat.
Series of stickers there. Pole shift. Planet X Nibiru. What the super volcano?
Global tsunami. A
They've
global
thought of everything. Jesus.
Jim, I know you're thinking, what possibly could be the threat? You know, usually in these kind of things, especially the movies, there's always a threat from the outside, and they've got all those covered, and then the threat from within. I can't remember a recent one where the threat from within is just that they're all morons. But at least in the real world, that's exactly what you get. Apocalypse bunker fails as wealthy residents turn on each other. And yes, folks, all the links will be in the description, but check this out. This 5-star bunker already at each other's throats. An ironic development, according to the writer, given their shared motivation to survive the end of the world. Yeah, apparently the providers, Jim, aren't the developer, like every sleazy developer. The developers of Vivos Point haven't provided, like I guess half the amenities they promised, maybe even less. These people, as you'd imagine, all these people are kind of jerks. So apparently one resident has already shot someone, and just some contractor for the developer.
You know what the subtext to that is probably a person of perhaps a different mother tongue.
Yeah.
Who's doing some work on the area. And
yeah, apparently he showed up with a front-end loader, like obvious construction, right? Shot him. Not dead, apparently, because even these guys can't even do that. So yeah, this Jim, this is why I'm like, when I see these post-apocalyptic films and how competent they are and how slick and professional they are, I'm like, no, it'll be like this, where they're killing each other or just buggering off or just living in their own filth long before the big one hits.
Yeah. And what I would recommend to you, because a lot of these are fantasies of some sort.
Yeah.
The one that you should watch is the trailer for the line jumper, which is something that they did on Saturday Night Live. It's pretty hilarious.
Line jumper?
The line jumper, yeah. And it's teen post-apocalyptic, much like, I think I've shown you that
like
before.
The Maze Runner or these kinds of
things.
Yeah.
And it's pretty hilarious. But also Station 11 out there is the TV miniseries, or you could read the book by Emily St. John Mandel. I have it at home, and my daughter is now a huge fan of hers. But it's got a different approach. I think it's seen as less of a sort of a zombie kind of fight to the death thing, and just how do we survive? And they largely survive through the arts. There's a traveling team that do Shakespeare plays in the country.
Yes.
And sort of try to withstand there are threats, but they just try to get along and make it through the night and that kind of thing. So a different approach there, not so much like, I'm in love with my Glock or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, I don't know if you just said it or you said it in the thing that I didn't have the record button on, but as it was written by a woman, maybe we're getting a little different perspective
instead of the reckless, the reckless guy thing. But the other thing too is it's that first shot that you showed us of on the webpage bears a striking resemblance to the set of 10 Cloverfield Lane, the John Goodman, Mary Winstead. Read that one, yes.
Yeah.
Slightly different color palette, but still that same feeling of awkward claustrophobia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if you've ever watched that movie and wondered, am I missing out? Then this is the solution for you.
And you won't have to, like, it's like they're already going stir crazy and they can bugger off to the town of Edgemont.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
exactly,
the
yeah.
city of Edgemont anytime. They're not stuck out there.
Yes.
I will say, yeah, that 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I know it kind of got wedged into the Cloverfield thing as they're thinking they could make that work. I got to admit, that was a solid flick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hard
But
to,
yeah,
like sort of nervous making, but that's, you know, what a good movie does.
Yeah. And not a fantasy. Like,
No.
immediately you go, this isn't right.
Mm.
There's something wrong here. You know,
Yeah.
it's the dark version of Brendan Fraser, is it Alicia Silverstone? Featherstone?
Oh, Blast from the
Past. You know, like a dark, an inversion of that, the shadow of Blast from the Past. Otherwise, this is the way it's going to play out. These morons, or it'll be everyone else. Large centers may get smaller, but people work it out, you know? All right, Jim, I do have another thing, and I got more show and tell for you, Jim.
Sure.
Recently, let me see where I can find. Yes. So somebody, I think both you and I follow Ayesha Khan. She has every sci-fi film ever is her podcast. She recently posted on Threads that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She posted here after watching Blade Runner 1982, the final cut version, she changed her mind back to preferring it to Blade Runner 2049. Oh my God, I read that wrong.
Oh.
This whole thing is, I disagree. It said my heart is, this is what I say. My heart is not an endorsement of the original poster's position. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now she's like, I want to know what you think. And I'm like, wow, hey, as I described before, Jim, I'm like, this is an opportunity for content here.
Let's have a good old-fashioned debate about being on the same side of an issue.
You know,
hunger is bad.
I think it's a perfect time. It's another. I mean, I don't want to get into the whole gender thing, but all of a sudden I'm like, oh, maybe there's another reason why men shouldn't be running the apocalypse.
Yes.
Can you
well, good. It was an
read
honest
a
reaction on your
Threads
part.
post?
I mean, you know, until 5 minutes ago, you didn't know that. But it's, I mean.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this is a perfect time to ask everyone for a like, a subscribe, and maybe a little ringy dingy of that bell. I am going to go into why I like, I am firmly on, whoops, not that one. I'm firmly on the original, the 1982 version. Not saying it's perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But when I think about it, compared to Blade Runner 2049, as stylish as it is, as moody as it is, you know, a lot of the complaints I had, I think, Jim, when we first talked about 2049, I was like, why is this so long? The world's already been established, you know? And I think some of it is just, Villeneuve, and maybe this is really it. It's not that I don't like this film. I may not be that big a fan of Villeneuve anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I certainly loved the Villeneuve who made Polytechnique. I mean, now even as I describe it, I'm getting a little choked up. I recently rewatched Arrival, and I'm this is cool. And, you know, this is almost like this is a great Villeneuve project. I think if he had done Annihilation, that would have been right up his alley. But with 2049 compared to the original Blade Runner, it's almost like, and this is a problem with Dune as well. It's like it wants it both ways. Brief spoiler warning, folks, if you haven't seen Blade Runner 2049.
Early spoiler.
Yeah, early spoiler for a movie that's several years old now. It seems to want you to think, it's like, listen, he is the slave who's a slave catcher, isn't important. That he's not the star. That's part of what he discovers. That he has no purpose, no meaning. But at the same time, he is the protagonist of the film. And without him being there, we do not have the Holy Family reunited.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, these are the kind of things where I am, Jim. I'm like, oh, off. Like, pick a lane. Don't weave in and out. Look, I'm playing both sides. That just...
It's up to the audience.
Yeah, exactly. Or, speaking, I mentioned Cuba, Solidarity, those poor buggers getting the squeeze, the 150-year-long squeeze, but, intensifying of late from the imperialists. And, we're a imperialist settler project as well, so I'm not saying like we're special, different. But where was I going with that? Cuba, 2049, slave catcher. Who the hell knows?
Slave catcher.
Right, that he's...
Doesn't matter.
And it's like, but he does. And, oh, yes. Now I remember my tangent. Sorry, Jim.
No.
I was recently at a Cuba, like it was like a presentation. Some academics talking about, Cuba, but also Canadian either complicity or active participation in the exploitation and resource extraction of other countries in the Caribbean. And the professors, they made their case. I was buying it, but in asking a couple of questions, they lame out and they sort of, well, we just provide information. And that's Villeneuve here. I think that's what he does in Dune. Although having recently reread Dune, I'm like, oh, Herbert was kind of doing that himself, maybe. But yeah, with this film, it's like he does. He wants it both ways. He wants to lead you in separate directions. And unlike somebody like Nolan, who either something like Memento, where he totally brings it back. And you're like, oh, that's what's going on here. Or where there's an ambiguous ending, like, say, in Inception, where you're like, no, you do have to make a call. You got to make a choice as the audience, in a way, write your own ending. You are given enough to make a concrete decision. Here, it's like, again, off. Whereas the original film, and again, Ridley Scott played a few games with this as well, especially the ridiculous, the unicorn and everything. And it's like, yeah, and I've said that before on the show. I just, that's a bunch of shit. But it's just a lot. It's a tighter film. It has more thematic impact because it's a tighter film. And learned, Jim, What's this? Apparently, Tears in the Rain was added that the 42 words, Jim. Roy Batty, 42 words.
Oh.
Rutger Hauer added that himself.
Underappreciated dude.
Like, I mean, there's a movie at the end, you're not going BS.
Yeah.
You know, you're going, damn, all right. Well, I know what this is about. I've got something to think about here. I got something to chew on here. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not sure it's the same reason Ayesha Khan thinks she prefers this over this, but that's why I do. Anyway, go ahead.
They're the TCM podcast I told you about. Ben Mankiewicz does these hour-long interviews just about the experience of going to the movies with, actors and directors and stuff like that. And he's got his Super 8 questions at the end. And I think one of them was, if there's a villain out there that you most sympathize with, who would it be? I think that's what it is. I'm paraphrasing probably pretty wildly. And it took me a while. I'm like, I don't know. And then, you'd like whatever
We've seen a lot of movies. We've all seen a lot of movies
in the shower or something. And I thought, fuck, Roy Batty, it's right in front of me, and still classic villains, scary and sympathetic and no BS. And there's no mustache twirling. And there's a little bit of like, the whole, like, we've got you now, Deckard kind of thing. But yeah, what a heck of a role, and cheers to Rutger Hauer, who had a pretty interesting career, and passed away too young, I think. But what a great villain. And to that, he wrote that himself, sort of, doesn't surprise me.
And that is like, so there'll be links in the description, folks, but that actually comes from this, Ayesha Khan, every single sci-fi film ever. That's the name of her podcast. Here is her most recent episode, apropos of nothing at all, talking about Paul Franklin, the visual effects supervisor.
What does he know?
Yeah, exactly. The visual effects supervisor for Inception and Interstellar, like Academy Award winning here. Apparently, it's his favorite film, and that's where this tidbit comes out. Of course, not spoiling it all for you, but you can find that here. Here is her podcast. And she was also on somebody else's podcast, Tipping My Fedora, talking about Blade Runner, the original version. So, check that out, folks. And, there you go. So we do agree with each other. Again, folks, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring-a-ding that bell.
Ring, ring. Before we continue on, I did want to drop a line. This is, I didn't set this up with you beforehand. This weekend, I was actually watching on YouTube, so you didn't have to, the Canadian Screen Awards, which recently just happened. And it's actually a pretty fascinating video document. And I don't mean that in a condescending way. Heated rivalry. It was their big year. 40 Acres, a dystopian survivalist movie.
The one where I literally the movie where I broke out my whole, hey, I don't like these, the right-wing fantasies. Yes, continue.
That won a ton of awards. Didn't win Best Picture. I'll have to look up what won Best Picture. Again, it's I know it's up there somewhere, but it's late in a school night. But so Heated Rivalry won, and the music on the bumpers, that's the intros and outros heading into and coming out of commercial, was Angine de Poitrine.
Say that again, Jim.
And Rush is starting their big Angine de Poitrine.
Yeah.
The Quebec musical duo that is allegedly from another planet, and they're all in polka dots. They provided the music. It was recorded.
Yeah.
But I thought there's not too many countries right now that could claim something like Heated Rivalry and something like Angine de Poitrine. And let's say too, Rush is starting their new world tour. And in terms of Canadian culture, like just tonight or last night, it started in LA. In terms of Canadian culture, there's all these kind of things happening. And to me, there's not that many countries that would produce the kind of stuff that we produce. Like, it's not all perfect.
Yeah.
And it does get a bit sort of like head up one's ass a lot of times. A lot of it's sort of the quiet little melancholy movies about one's sexuality or family relations, or in Northern Ontario or whatever.
Classic.
A lot of the same sort of
upper middle class sexual anxieties.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But at the same time, there's always surprises. And I looked at I thought, well, what do I know about the Canadian Screen Awards, formerly known as the Genies? And I thought, well, I don't know much about the last few years. And of course I did. I saw Universal Language in the is that the name of it? Buddy's film there from Winnipeg. I saw it in the theater at
Matthew Rankin.
Matthew Rankin, yeah. And yeah, so going back, there's if you look back, and we just talked about Polytechnic, you were mentioning that. So there's a lot to appreciate in this culture, and I think we sort of overlook it not you and I, but I think in general we tend to overlook it sometimes.
I believe we talked about this recently.
Probably
about maybe we could watch more Canadian content.
And there's a surprise one too. I watch a lot. This is connected. I watch a lot of AFL and the Australian Football League and Australian Football League adjacent programming, and they have a talk show called The Front Bar, which I don't think you'd have up here for CFL, but it's basically a sporting panel show, and it's just three guys that sort of take the piss out of everyone. They take the piss out of their guests, but it ultimately in kind of a kind way. Like they'll show old commercials that these old stars are in. They'll interview the old stars and show them embarrassing parts of their career and stuff. And in the end, they'll come around. But anyway, they have like a segment called Sam's Drip Tray, and he's pretending he's a bartender. He said, "Okay, here's some quick lightning round. What's your favorite color? What's this? What's that? What's your favorite vegetable? What was your first car?" And one of them is, "What's your favorite movie?" And there's a real serious AFL coach. And these guys are like NFL coaches. Like, they're very strategic and a lot of times very serious.
Yeah.
And they said, "What's your favorite movie?" And it was with this one coach, and I'd have to look it up, but it's a notoriously serious coach. And he said, "Incendies." And I thought,
really?
The Canadian film?
Like Villeneuve's on Sun. Really?
I don't know if it's Villeneuve, but
okay. You continue. I'll look this up right now.
And I was like, damn, I guess I should watch that. It's my bad. I mean, there's an endless list of movies that I haven't seen that I should watch, but it was sort of a good lesson. Like, I gotta watch more Quebecois stuff, and there's some really amazing talent.
Twins journey to the Middle East to discover their family history and fulfill their mother's last wishes.
And this was a football coach's favorite movie, and I just thought,
directed by Denis Villeneuve.
Oh, it was? Oh, no kidding.
I knew it.
You're right. Okay.
I do my research. Totally.
I
mean, apparently I can't read a thread post, but.
Yeah. Well, anyway. So that's just something for just something to think about. So
I can say, you're absolutely right. Like, I mean, it was just one long list of wins, except for Best Motion Picture. The Best Motion Picture was Nirvana, the band, the show,
Yes,
the movie,
that's right too.
which
Okay,
is
yeah.
on our list, especially now that it's on demand.
It's done quite well, yeah.
we will be taking a look at that.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, otherwise, Best Director, R.T. Thorne for 40 Acres. Original Screenplay, R.T. Thorne and Glenn Taylor, 40 Acres.
Mhm.
Adapted Screenplay, no, not Adapted Screenplay. Best Cinematography, 40 Acres. Achievement in Editing, Mile End Kicks.
Yes.
Now that movie oozes CanCon, Canadian content, and directed by, what the heck is that woman's name again? About to say Rachel Blanchard, but that is not her name. But she did
Chandler Levesque.
Thank you, Chandler Levesque, who did the wonderful I Like Movies.
Yes.
You know, I may think Ms. Levesque's a jerk, but she made an entertaining movie, and also with Bite.
Chandler
And I
Levesque,
expect Mile End Kicks to be the same thing. And eventually we'll get to see it and we'll bring it to the show.
Mhm.
All right. Notwithstanding myself editorializing on the character of the director. All right. Let's get into this show, Jim. Anything else to add? We're good, eh?
No,
Okay.
we are good.
No. Well, on that note, let's talk about Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. Where are my notes? Oh my goodness. There we are. Okay. Logline: several old friends, one ex-friend, and Benoit Blanc accept an eccentric tech billionaire's invitation to a murder mystery weekend on his private island. Things get complicated. Things get complicated when one of the guests ends up dead. Before I watched Jim, I was like, yeah, you know what? Comical, satirical, Agatha Christie style murder mystery. Everyone will have a motive. And yeah, I was not surprised on that one. It's like, that's exactly what the movie was. Why don't you give me your thumbnail sketch of the flick and what you thought about it before we get into the spoiler zone?
Sure. It's almost it feels like a throwback ensemble murder comedy, if you can call it that. If that's your kind of thing, that's great. It's not necessarily mine, but I sometimes I find them enjoyable. But this bringing together all the folks and seeing what transpires, I think. The overriding thing is that I think the filmmakers had fun filming this. Tonally, it's quite different than the third Knives Out movie. It's almost doesn't even feel like it's in the same series. Like, it's so colorful and almost kind of goofy. And the third one's dark and kind of kind of spooky and very deals with deeper, I think, themes. But
this definitely, all these characters are characters.
Yes, yeah.
You know, they're and it's sort of led by the head character of them all, the billionaire was Braun.
Miles Braun.
Miles Braun.
Yeah.
Played by Edward Norton.
It's an interesting. I don't think it was everyone's favorite Knives Out movie of the three, and I'm not sure how it did. I think it did okay, but critically as well. But I enjoyed it. This is the second time I've seen it. I actually enjoyed it more this time than I did the first time.
Yeah. did well. Like, I'm looking at my my research. I mean, 91% of 438 reviews were positive.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they were like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. It literally be, it was fine. It was pretty good.
Regardless of your take on Rian Johnson, I think he comes from a place that I think he really enjoys movie making. I think he loves movies, and I think he comes from a place of good faith. Regardless of your opinion on what he did with the Star Wars films, I don't have a hard take on those either way, but I know he's got his detractors and his fans. So,
I mean, myself, I am I a big Rian Johnson stan? No. But I think I might have been one of the very few where it's like, oh, well, at least he took a swing in that in that middle Star Wars movie. It's like, well, there's somebody who's trying to do something, did it work? But he was trying to do something. And subsequent films that we've seen of his, it's like, there's a guy who's almost a Soderbergh-esque kind of director, knows what he's making. In this one, like you said, it's bright, it's fun. Everyone on the island, they of course are invited to this billionaire's personal island. They're all kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's what I think Soderbergh would describe as a bonbon. Sometimes you're making a bonbon. Doesn't mean it doesn't have anything to say, but making a bonbon. For myself, Jim, before we jump into the spoiler zone, you know what? I did enjoy this. At the same time, I was reminded of like Blake Snyder, Save the Cat guy. He calls these kind of movies whodunits. That's his whole theory. It's like, if it's a mystery, really the core of it is, why was the crime done? Not so much who did it, but why did they do it? And this certainly seems to lean on that. I'm not sure I would have enjoyed it as much if it wasn't for the charm of everything. Like how much, let's say, light fun it was, how ridiculous it all was. There is some satirical bite, and we'll get into that. But I got to admit, I'm like, boy, if it wasn't as light on its feet as it was, I probably would have been like, well, what the hell well, I'll save that note for the spoiler zone. Anything you want to add before we go there?
No, I'm sure we'll get into it. All
right. Well, hello, everyone. We're going into the spoiler zone.
Was this your first time seeing it, or had you seen it before?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Okay.
It's, Jim, I have been unable, I've started Knives Out multiple times, never could sit down for it for whatever reason. It's not a knock on the film. That's just, I haven't been able to get into it. And here I was like, we are getting into summer. I'm like, we've got some heavy movies coming up on our schedule, of course, but I wanted to do something light, but well handled, but that may still have something to say, like, especially after, oh my goodness. How, like, this is the problem, Jim. How the heck?
I think I know where you're headed.
91% of 374 reviews for Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh.
That must have been literally, well, it's not junk. Like, just what a mediocrity, and I was like, this will not be a mediocrity. And so, and then I watched it. I also have to say, I have a personal writing project that is a mystery. So I've really got mysteries on the brain.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
yeah, maybe Sorry, Jim, maybe a bit of a personal agenda there.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
But let me ask you this as we get into the film proper. Did that answer your question?
Yes, yeah.
Did you get a whole paragraph for what could have been a one-sentence answer?
No, that's fine.
When you look at this film and it's talking about the why done it, do you think you'd ever have a chance of solving this crime?
Had I been there?
No. Watching the movie.
Oh. Yeah, my brain doesn't really operate that in that way. I don't.
Do you think anyone could?
Yeah, well, some people are more like that than others, but and not to say that I'm not I think we're all details guy in our people in our own little way, but those kinds of things, often I'm watching some Agatha Christie thing, and I remember it always makes me mad because they say, "Oh, look what's in his pocket. He had a ticket for the train to Cairo, so that means he blah blah blah." I have tickets for the Montreal subway, the Toronto subway, and the New York subway in my wallet. Why? Because I like taking them and I just like to have them on me. It's not proof that I committed any murder. And there's probably several years old. In fact, I don't think they have the Metro cards anymore in New York City. But it's just that's the sort of that sort of ticky-tacky thing that bugs me about this genre, is that it's often based on these sort of House of Cards kind of clues here.
Yeah.
But in terms of motive and stuff, they kind of subvert it in this one.
Yeah,
I like how he solves the initial mystery.
This is really easy. Da-da.
And he also mentions his hatred for the game Clue. Quick story here. We were, the four of us, my family and I, the kids were much younger, probably a dozen years ago. We're at the lake. And we broke out where the kids had calmed down after dinner. It was often hard to play board games with them because they'd get silly. So we got them in a good mood. We were going to sit down and play Clue. I had the first guess and I guessed it right. Like immediately, and I wasn't trying to win. I'm not that level of competitive. But it's just the way it went. I guess, I don't know, candlestick.
So you wrecked the game.
Colonel Matt. Yeah, exactly. And Carla said, "No, we're done for the night." Just shut it was. I don't even know if we played Clue ever again. But,
all right, kids, you're going to bed. Your dad ruined the lake.
Yeah, so it sort of reminded me of when Blanc sort of solved the initial setup case, and there's a really great shot where Ed Norton's sitting there all pouty and he gets hit by the fake arrow and blood squirts out and he just sort of ignores it. But that's a sort of great understated comic moment, I think.
Yeah. That is the charm of this film, right? It is light on its feet. Mm-hmm. It has those moments where you're like, oh, hey, that was kind of neat. That was fun. And a lot of it really revolves around, hey, they're making fun of the rich asshole.
Oh, yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yes.
On that note, I do think Johnson was trying to make a fun movie here. But what else do you think he was saying with this flick? Or what do you think this flick was saying? Whether you thought he was doing it or not.
Well, I think it was making fun of the whole notion of disrupting. This sort of new class of entrepreneur or something that we have out there.
Saying there's no such thing as an infraction point.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know if there's a couple things I didn't buy in this movie, and they're not game killers or anything like that. I didn't really buy the initial friend group, that they were all just sort of, hanging out at the same bar, a la sort of like, it seemed like a How I Met Your Mother kind of situation almost. But they're all these big disruptors, and they've all sort of had their own kinds of success, with Miles becoming the most successful. And that's all, that's pretty much their identity, is that they're that they are successful. And there's a sort of a whiff of disappointment for each one of them, almost, except for Miles,
Yeah.
who's just like, yeah, and what,
he's
what did he
only
really...
mad when it's pointed, when his surprises don't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm in charge. I'm a lot like these guys. And, like a lot like these guys, they're not necessarily the ones that initially started the company. He's the one that took the ball and was able to break out of the huddle with it, or the rugby scrum. He's the one who got the ball and took it,
but pulled it out of somebody else's hands, literally.
And there were other people involved. So you have your Zuckerbergs and your Musks and your, the question is, what's their role? What did they actually make?
Yeah.
What did they actually do?
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I think I think if there is I think another reason the film works is it really does take that BS down a peg.
Yeah.
And
Ed Norton has a great time, I think, playing this, because he's, from all accounts, he's sort of like a bit of a hippie, or something to that effect. So,
yeah, you know what? There is he. It's always tough, right? Like, I mean, Kate Hudson not self-aware? Is Ed Norton that self-aware? Like,
yeah.
And I would say, though, that's also another potential problem. He is skewered. And all these other, let's call them sycophants, they're willing to sell out their own friend, the one who really brought everyone together. Which is played by Janelle Monáe, who I will now engage Jim in a little bit of fantasy casting. This will come up more when we're talking about the Odyssey in next month, but I would love to see Janelle Monáe do Antony and Cleopatra, or another Caesar film, but thinking Antony and Cleopatra, I would love to see Janelle Monáe as Cleopatra in a retelling of Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra. I think that'd be the shit. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, she is the one who brings them all together. She is the heck is her character's name again? Well, she plays two characters.
There's Helen, and there's starts with A, I believe. I had it here.
Andy. Helen / Andy Brand. Braun and Brand.
Yeah.
Just a sec here. Let me get that. Let me get that eye roll. There you go. She's the one who brings them together. She's the one who comes up with the idea. He's the one who, most likely the face, the one who sounds smart, a la Sam Altman. Saw him, a clip of an interview he recently did about, how he's worried about where ChatGPT could go. And it's like, you really do see, it's like, you really don't know what you're talking about.
Mm.
You just don't. And how uninterested the people around them, even, smart, ostensibly smart people, but they have skin in the game now. The media is interviewing everyone. No one can go, do you actually know what this is? Do you know? No. There's Sam Altman skating by, even though it's like, with idiot. But he sounds smart. And I think that this film does a pretty good job of satirizing that. But I want to ask you, does it go in your mind, does it go far enough? Does it let some of these characters off? I have an opinion.
I think with the kind of assumptiveness, it's sort of interesting because it's also a bit of a post-COVID movie, although they don't mention things like vaccines and stuff. You see a few masks and that sort of thing, and that's how we're told Miles Braun is allowed to have the actual Mona Lisa on hand on the island for however long he has it. In a way, it's sort of that revisionist history, almost like what Tarantino does, in his various movies. I won't spoil anything, but there's some choices that he makes that are non-historical and kind of interesting. But, I think there's that sense of entitlement. I think they capture fairly well. I think there's only a certain amount of depth you can take this in this kind of movie that's trying to be, it's not a Democracy Now documentary. So you have to sort of be a little lighter, I think, on the, it's a whole balance thing, because we're so, it is a sort of a light on its feet mystery. And if you start hectoring, people, I think that's a bit of a.
Think of the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Where everyone invited, let's say, goes down one level or another, except for the heroine.
Yeah.
And I'll put this character up. Of course, one of the plot lines, and heck, we're in the spoiler zone, folks. One of the plot lines is Jessica Henwick plays Peg, who is the assistant to Kate Hudson's character. And Kate Hudson playing a dumb blonde, literal, totally, unself-aware, I see it like it is. It's like, no, you say stupid stuff. Has made her fortune on sweatpants that are made in a sweatshop.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Why am I doing that when I literally have one of those? There we go. But there's a moment where she goes to Miles Braun, says, please don't make her take the hit for this. And what Peg's saying is it'll destroy her career. Miles Braun's like, who are you? And yeah, I need her to do that. And of course, her rich boss is going to do that because her wealth depends on it.
Mm-hmm.
And what kills me here is this worker going, please don't make my boss take the hit for you. It'll affect me. And it's like, you're the slave labor in foreign land, well, them. And I think all of these characters have a bit of that. The child crypto NFT thing, all these things that they're doing. The governor, with political aspirations, says, yeah, I'll let his goofy energy project burn people up. Even at the very end, it's not until it all is burned down that they actually go, nah, screw you. Because it's already, they're like, yeah, there's nothing to recover here. But up to that point, they are willing to stick with him. And I think that it kind of reminds me, Jim, of Jennifer Lawrence, Nothing Personal.
Oh,
Yeah. That sort of ending where it's like, wait a second. Yeah, Miles Braun gets his comeuppance, but no one else does.
no.
You know, this seems like bullshit. You know, they kind of cheer her on, and it's like, you know, no, this is horse shit, you know, and I think that's what I mean. You could have still had the same movie, but go a little farther, you know.
No hard feelings.
No hard feelings. Thank you. Nothing personal. Close.
Same sentiment, I guess.
Yeah, it's a similar energy. Yeah, I think, although we did see No Other Choice, so it's all starting to recently. Yeah, it's all starting to mush together.
See each other, yeah.
But a similar vibe. Didn't have any other choice.
Fargo, Key Largo, triple feature.
All right. Let me ask you this, Jim. And this is something I'm not 100% sure about. And I'm like, what is the emotional core of this movie? You know, is it about, I mean, it seems so lame, so trite, but is it about justice? You do have the sister, the twin sister, twins. Twist.
Yeah. I get to play two roles. Yeah.
And well, a little shticky, but Monet did it well, I think.
Yeah.
You know, I bought it.
And they were different. They seemed, you know, like they seemed like different characters. So yeah.
But what do you think? What is the emotional core of this movie? You know, what is the, you know, we got the log line, but what's it really about? You know, we talked about some of the themes. Is it about, you know, these rich people are just ding dongs?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I don't think that's enough. You know, I think it really does sort of.
I wonder if the word beholden comes up, and I think they're all on a little bit of a chain here.
Yeah.
They're all wedded to this situation, and none of them seem particularly comfortable with it. You know, keep in mind they started out as friends.
Yeah.
And they don't even seem to be particularly glad to be there. So maybe
they all kind of dislike each other.
Yeah, it's not, and I don't think the first word I thought was envy, but I don't think they're envious of it of Miles so much as they are just sort of yearning to be free,
resentful of the chains.
I think resentment. I think resentment would be a better sort of
the collars chafing
idea of
they don't even like each other.
Yeah, an emotional core there, and they don't see each other too. Like we're led to believe that they haven't seen each other for a while, and unless it was for this get together, it'd probably be familiar with each other. But it's not like, hey, saw you last Christmas. This is not the Four Seasons.
Or when Andy, the first murder, when she sends the email /fax to everybody, then all of a sudden they all know where she lives.
Yeah.
And even that part, it's like, well, what do you think is in the letter? You know, why did they, like, they would look stupid, but this is really a fight between Andy and Miles.
Yeah.
I mean,
it would upset the apple cart, right? And it would cut off their sugar daddy there, and
well, they did stick with them.
Future plans.
Yeah.
So,
is it also then? Like it. Well, I think that's the probably the biggest theme of it is this, hey, we're worshiping dipshits. We're worshiping ding-dongs, and we've got all these people around them who just keep saying yes to them and doing whatever because their relative wealth, their relative status, their relative power. I think I named everything, all 5, right? Depends on keeping the king happy.
What's the Bob Dylan line? You gotta serve somebody.
Yeah,
serve somebody. It could be the devil, or it could be the Lord. You gotta serve somebody.
but I'm wondering. I'm still, and that's maybe that's it. Maybe this is why it doesn't hit. Like again, I'm like, I couldn't tell you. Although, mind you, I keep asking this question, but I might be overthinking it. Next week I might go, oh, that's what it was. Duh. But right now, all I think about is it's like, is that it? Is it really just about righting a wrong? For somebody,
I think
we
it's a
don't
little...
actually, we don't have enough time with Andy, even the fake Andy, to go, wow, that person has a motive. Too. Like you kind of get it, but it's almost like tacked on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is there enough here? Especially maybe even the second murder. It's like, well, why is he dead?
Yeah.
I mean, you do see the switch. Like in the first one, you see Miles place the drink in his hand. And this is, you need the second half of the movie to explain what's really going on. So all of a sudden it's like we as the audience, it's not like Columbo where we see the crime, we know who the bad guy is. And it's really about how does Columbo figure it out? And some of it happening off screen. Here, it's a whole bunch of stuff that's happened off screen, and then it's shown to us after. So it's not like we have any, we don't have any, like, is there enough of an itch that it's like, oh, thank God this is being scratched? And I'm not sure there is. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, a part of me is like, it's not like other films, but I got to admit, is the more, discuss it is, as fine a time as I had. Part of me is like, well, why was I here? What kept me watching? Was it just to watch him do his shtick?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's not a short movie. I think it's 220, isn't it? It's a little over 2 hours, almost 2.5. So, it kept me watching. I think it's as much as you can do with this, with the tone that they were trying to establish. I think anything more would have been, like I said, you really got to watch that. You're not sort of lecturing, the
yeah,
people.
but that's not the question I'm asking here. I'm like, what is it about? Like, or emotionally, what's its core? Like, do I think it could have even had more bite, more impact? Yes, but I don't know, taking the piss out of Elon Musk, and let's be honest, this is, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, they're all the same. They're all cut out the same, douchebag. So here's our cookie cutter. Oh no, you want the double douchebag? All right, here you go.
In our legally non-binding opinions, not facts.
Yes, it's our several hundred subscribers.
Okay, so it's a little sort of like
But
Matrix-like
that's
spiders
fun,
sort of watching
but
us.
it's like, what is our, I'll go back to Michael Jamin's, that idea of, well, okay, as you know, Jim, I've been reading a lot of Jane Austen lately. I would say the emotional, like the Pride and Prejudice is a story about a young woman growing up. She starts, Elizabeth Bennet, she's a great character, and I see why people want to kind of be like her because she's got all the gumption and all that stuff. But really, she starts young and, a little vain and a little, not really connected to the real world. I don't mean she's a dingling or anything, but she's like kind of, well, I'm not doing that and I'm not doing that. And that's an idiot and I'm smart and blah, blah, blah. And it's only after a while she goes, oh my goodness. I've got skin in the game. I need to be a better judge of others. She grows up. That's its emotional core. It's about this young woman growing up. What is this movie? What is this story?
Well, I think it's the resentment that they have being beholden to this guy, having an unequal relationship with this former friend of theirs. I think that that sort of doesn't lead. I keep on thinking. I actually have to, because I watched this a week ago. I'm like, oh yeah, who got killed? And even before I watched this the second time, because we were doing it for this show, I thought, oh yeah, I can't remember who killed Ed Norton's character, which of course didn't happen.
Well, and that's, even as we're talking about this, I'm like, oh, maybe I am overcomplicating it. It is at its core about like most crime in the big genre of crime, you want to see the bad guy caught. And getting caught here, of course, there's also murder, but it's not about the murderer getting caught. It's this asshole getting exposed.
Yeah.
That it's all BS. And maybe that's it, because that's what we want. That's why we're watching to the end, is this guy going to be hauled out in the carpet, exposed, shown, and publicly shown for being the bad guy he is?
Or, almost a worse conclusion is that Blanc points him out as being kind of dumb. Really, like,
well, that's it. He's totally exposed. He's not that smart. I got to admit, if I would to, it's like, why didn't we learn? Was there a scene where this was cut? Why didn't we learn that what he really always was just a sleight of hand magician?
Because you have to follow the clues.
Because really, that's the only thing he did well. The only thing he did well, was the magic tricks and that. And well, Blanc figured it out because he's Benoit Blanc. He's got special. No one else. They're there for the show. Like anybody watching a magician. And so his big move, when he, puts the glass, poisons, what's your poison? Poisons his supposed friend. None of these people are his friends. This man has no friends. Like Elon Musk has no friends. That's a great sleight of hand move. And I'm like, why did we not find out? Well, he was really a magician, or he, Like not a big one, like one of those guys is like he could never make it on the boardwalk. He just wasn't that good with his card tricks or anything. Like, but we have these things dropped. Oh, my puzzle guy, apprenticed under Ricky Jay. Like, why didn't we find that out? Because in a way, it's like, yeah, you were a terrible boardwalk. You couldn't do 3-card Monte, but you get into this world and boy, you can really pull the wool over everyone's eyes.
Well, look at.
Geez, I'm becoming more satisfied already. Sorry.
What is the curse of the Fortune magazine cover? Half of them end up in jail and the other half get exposed.
40 under 40. How many of these chumps are going to end up going to jail?
Yeah, Elizabeth Holmes, she's got all the answers.
Yeah. Well,
Does she?
Yeah, and that may be part of it as well. Like, but I think emotionally that man, it's like I've figured out some mystery. But yeah, why am I watching the end? Because I want to see this 2-bit con artist get his comeuppance. And even though he is, it's almost like there's almost like a couple, like a false ending or a bonus. Brendan McNulty's, great, a bonus ending. But we do get a bit of a bonus ending as the whole place is burned down, and then all of a sudden he's still trying to recover. And this is when the friends go, yeah, no, forget it.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw it. I saw the napkin.
I think I saw all this.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, now you're sure.
Well, and they sort of lead up to it with all the dropped references. This is he's first of all, he's sort of destroying the one of the best Beatles songs, Blackbird, as he's like everything's staged with this guy. Like everything's, and even the doc that he creates that comes up isn't sufficient to board boats in stormy conditions
or when the tide is high.
It's a stupid doc. And he's playing the guitar. He goes, yeah, this is the one that McCartney constructed this on anyway. And then he drops the guitar in the sand. And he's like, that's his in terms of magic tricks. That's one of his big ones, is just being able to buy anything, or do whatever he wants, regardless
to
of
sell anything.
Brings
to
his
justify,
his favorite car to an island without roads, and they have at the end they have the glorious kind of car crashing down through the ceiling and lodging in the floor. I think the horn goes off too, as sort of like a little extra beat. But this guy's sort of I spent a little time. I don't have it on me, but I was writing down all the little all the name drops that he does, and all the I was talking with the magician you just mentioned there, and
Ricky
all that
Jay.
kind of stuff. Yes, Ricky Jay, and it's just like one reference after the other.
Well, at the same time, the Louvre. Like this weird sort of that facade, but also it is like a bit of a in microcosm. They're all, let's say, I can't quite get the word I'm looking for here, but there is a critique of this particular moment in capitalism. In that all of these folks, they're all individually ridiculous, but they're smart enough to know that it's like, oh, I need this guy. And so whatever, even the Peg character, where it's like, you're almost like, I'm kind of knocking her the most when they're all horrible. Maybe not Whiskey. You know what? Not Whiskey.
Whiskey. Of course, whiskey. Nice to meet you.
But her, it's, I mean, she's a little mercenary, but she is not. She is being exploited except for for all intents and purposes, slave labor in the sweatshops. She, in some ways, is the most exploited of all these folks, and she may be somewhat mercenary about it. She's not cruel. She obviously has a connection to
Duke.
Thank you. She has like an emotional connection. She does. Like, it's not crocodile tears, and she is, for all her mercenary kind of plan, she's getting pimped out by her boyfriend who she's connected to, like here. So, so whiskey's okay.
Sure.
Interestingly enough, whiskey's okay. And it's the one that Andy/Helen, she is the one, that's the one that Andy/Helen is like, oh, just leave him.
Oh yeah.
She's the only one. She doesn't sympathize with Peg.
That's true.
See, this is the brilliance of our analysis, Jim. I am starting to zero in on let me lead up to my my next question. Maybe my last question before we get into See It or Skip It. Jim, do you think you're going to remember this movie in a year? Think you're going to want to rewatch it?
I mean, I'll remember aspects of it, but probably the last Glass Onion, I think Knives Out, I'll remember more. I mean, as I mentioned, I forgot who got murdered and who was, after watching it the first time. Like, did even anybody get murdered? Like, I don't recall. But so I completely, clearly Ed Norton gets murdered. No, that's not what happens, Jim. So I remembered parts of it, but I might describe.
Imagine this movie if we had the trial first. Even just aspects of it, just a couple of beats. And then advance. Like you could almost have the whole movie, just put a couple of those beats early. All of a sudden we see this woman getting screwed. We can then go, why is she there? Oh, she's probably it's a different movie. Yeah. While still being light and fun and everything. And there I'd be far more integrated. For myself, if I can, or did you answer the question? I
think I'll remember aspects of it. Yeah, I think it helps that it's part of a series. I think that always helps. You can sort of, you have other things bouncing off it. You got the first one and then the third one, and we have the constant of Benoit Blanc. So that's, those are things that are sort of easy to remember. Individual details, maybe not great, but that may be says more about me than the movie. Yeah, itself.
I'm not asking will you remember. Will you remember this as, hey, I saw that movie. It was X or Y. Yeah. Or will it be like,
there was a guy in it.
I'm thinking of F1.
Yeah.
The movie that we forgot, not only that we saw, but that we actually saw together and then did a video on. It's like we had to scratch our head.
Yeah.
It was such a forgettable film.
Yeah.
Is this F1 or let's say go to the other, let's go to a recent extreme? Or no, let's pull something from our past. I don't think I'll ever forget Coda.
Yeah.
Yeah,
somewhere in the middle, I think.
Okay. Do you think you'll watch it again?
Probably not this one. I think, there's too many. My PVR is consistently at 93%. And most of those are movies my wife says, oh, you're never going to watch it. So And a lot of them are just like, I'm at 3 a.m. I'm like, oh, I should go to bed. What's on? I'll just check what's on. Oh, that looks interesting.
Yeah.
Hit record,
So,
and then
short answer, no.
No.
Okay. All right.
No
Last.
such thing as a short answer.
Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking an hour and 20 minutes. Were, for myself, I think if I didn't make the notes, if I didn't make my notes, if I didn't do the things I do, and because I'm working on a creative thing with a mystery, I don't think I'd remember. It wouldn't be as bad as F1, but I'd be hard pressed to say exactly what it was. I would put it in the same category as I would put, is it Free Guy? That Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine movie. I think I would put it in there, in that bracket, maybe better. Like, this has way more to say than that did, but it's such a low bar.
Yeah.
There's nothing that can have more to say. Will I watch it again? Again, only because my head is in mysteries right now. Well, that and Jane Austen, apparently. But if it wasn't, I don't see myself watching this unless I'm really bored on a Sunday and I want something easy to watch. Because it is an easy watch. This is not. This is not No Other Choice. This is not Past Lives.
Come and see.
Yeah. This is not Come and See.
It's a Belarusian mystery.
How will this play out?
Come and See isn't so much
for this child.
It is why done it.
Yeah. How will this play out for this 14-year-old boy? A tale of growing up.
A heartwarming.
All right. Last question for you, Jim. Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. Is it a see it or skip it?
It's a mild see it, I guess. There's other ones in the series that I would suggest you watch instead.
I am with you on the mild see it. Yeah, nothing else to watch. It's light. It's easy. It's well made, well performed. You're not going to go, wow. You're not going to go Crazy Rich Asians. What the hell what am I doing? I'm never going to get that time back. All right. On that note, I think it's time to say goodnight. Please, everybody, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I don't know, maybe ringy-ding that bell.
See you, folks.
Good night, everybody.